So, Mark, did you see that viral hack for ensuring an empty middle seat on Southwest? I guess this won't work for much longer, but just pretend you're an influencer and then nobody will want to sit by you.
It reminds me of that. Remember the Doritos Super Bowl commercial where they were trying to block the seat or whatever, and he'd like pretend he was had a cold and a cough and sneezing, and then when he saw the hot lady, he's like, "Oh, here's some Doritos. You should sit here." And then she turns and has a big baby on her on her chest.
It's so true to life.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I hate of all the things I hate taking pictures and filming. It's in the plane because it feels the most awkward, like everybody's watching you.
Being an influencer sucks.
Let's get to the video.
We like to talk about experiences, travel experiences a lot here. And I think society is just based around experiences, and activations is the word of the year, I think, for PR people. But what about running out on a football field with the other team's colors on? That would be fun. And I guess USC gives the ability to pay like $1,400 to $1,800 to run on the field at the Coliseum with the team. And this guy just did it. He trolled them. He was wearing Penn State colors and he showed a video of it, and it's glorious.
Yeah, like there's no rules to it. You just pay the money and you get to run out, which I think is a cool experience, especially if you love USC. It's really cool experience to be at the home stadium, run out in the field. I've been lucky enough to be on the field for a couple games, like before the game, never like watching the game. And this is the same type of vein of that. And I think it's such a unique thing. And the fact that they just charge for it is so 2024. And so college football these days, they probably put it towards paying players. The fact that they had no rules and the guy wore his Penn State stuff, waited till the Penn State team was behind him in the tunnel and then like shouted towards them and then ran out with the Penn State flag is hilarious.
It really was. And there was some booze. I wasn't sure if he was getting booed, or I heard some booze, I think. It was crazy. But you had a similar thing happen a couple of years ago. Choice had this promotion and you were able to redeem Choice points for a football experience. The funniest thing is, I had forgotten, went back and read your article. I know we had talked about this before, is that you went and did this. You got the game experience, which you can talk about, the gift cards. It was such an amazing deal. And you didn't even stay in the Choice Hotel.
Yeah, they wanted to put us up in one of the nicer hotels. It was like a unique brand, not like a Choice brand, but like one of their, one-off type of things. And it was in Princeton and it looked beautiful, like a little boutique hotel. But that's like 45 minutes to an hour away from where Rutgers plays. So I was like, hey, that's not going to work. It's too far. Like, I don't, after the game, we're going to be hanging out, having drinks and stuff. They're like, oh, well, we can put you out at the Comfort Inn. And I'm like, nah, that's that's all right. We're going to stay with friends. And our friends' names were Hyatt. They have a Hyatt Regency right downtown, which is a great location for 8K a night. You're like a block away from the downtown area and stuff. And funny enough, it was a Rutgers game. They were playing Michigan State. So they assumed a Rutgers fan would bid on it and all this stuff. And we wore our Michigan State gear with all Rutgers people going on the field before the game. And then we went up into the Rutgers suite, which is unique. It's not like, an individual suite with 8 to 10 people. It's like the whole level is one big suite that everybody commingles. You have your own seat outside to watch the game, but when you come inside, it's just like one big long suite, that has a bar, has food area. So we're walking around in our Michigan State gear while everybody else is like head to toe Rutgers stuff.
That kind of experience is so cool. And being able to troll people, 100,000, there probably wasn't 100,000 there. It didn't look like all the seats were full. But that's a masterful job at trolling. And as you said, it's so 2024, selling access to everything.
Yeah, now I wonder, does the price go higher or do they put rules in that you can't wear other teams' stuff? So something's going to change after this video went viral, but it would be interesting to see.
So one of the more interesting things in this hobby is like opening your eyes up to all the possibilities for travel. Like we talk about welcome offers, credit card rewards. So many people are like, oh my God, I can take this trip for quote unquote free. But there's all these alternative things that you learn about as you do this for more years. And house sitting is one of them. I know a lot of people who do house sitting, and this is a way to go to a place. Sometimes you have to watch people's pets. Other times you have to do other things, but usually you have to do some pretty basic tasks, take care of somebody's house, and you get like free accommodation. And it could be for months at a time. They have a review system, and Trusted House Sitters is a site that has done this for a long time. We know a lot of people who are members of that. I know Tim and Amy from Go With Less, good friends of MTM, have been doing this for years. And I can't wait to like ditch the kid, retire, and go house sit around the world.
Yeah, and Ben wrote about this on Travel on Points because he uses it for the different side. Like Tim and Amy use it on the side of getting the free stays, and that's cool. And they go all over the world and do this. Ben uses it on the other side where he's the person offering up the house and everything, and because he has a couple dogs, and they were spending $50 a day to board them. 10-day trip. That's $500. It gets crazy expensive, and it's an addition to everything else you're spending for, award fees on the ground, like food and drink, and maybe you are paying for the hotel room cash, all that stuff that adds to it. So he started trying out, he's used it 15, 20 times now, all been really well received on his end. And it's a way that he can get his dogs taken care of without spending any money, which I think is really kind of cool and unique. Of course, you have to open up your home to a stranger, which some people are like, no go there. But if you're open and willing to do that, this is a great way to save some money if you do have pets and like to travel.
Yeah, and he points out the different membership types. There's one that includes the insurance, which is probably the one I would want. Covers your house and your belongings, and they have a whole review system. So whether you're on the host side or you're the person who's going into the house, that you'll have reviews. So the more you're on the site and more the community sort of develops and gets to know you, people will review you, and it makes it easier. And he points out from his end, he always has multiple people apply for his house sits, so he can go through the reviews, pick the best candidate. So this really works, I think, on both sides. It's great. Save money for your pets if you're comfortable with that, but also don't close your eyes to the travel aspect of this. Like I said, we know people who live full time on the road, who the vast majority of their time spent is doing house sits all over the world, incredible places. It blows my mind every time I talk to one of these people.
Yeah, some of the places that they get are insane, like right by the beach or, overlooking the ocean, right in the heart of a city. It's not like just some country bumpkin out in the middle of nowhere crap hole. They're really nice houses, which you're kind of surprised that people would open them up to strangers, but they do, and it really offers a unique experience. And a lot of times it can be for longer trips because, most people aren't going to use this service for 3-day trips or a 4-day trip. But if you're going to be gone for 3 weeks, that's great. You can settle in, kind of get the feel. The other cool thing is you get the feel of what it's like to live in that place as a local. Sometimes you get access to their cars and all those type of things too. So it opens up a whole different world for you.
If you don't mind people, would you let people in your house? That's the one thing. I don't know that I want people in my house.
I mean, the amount of cleaning I'd have to do before I felt comfortable for them to come in, it makes it not worth it. Like, I'm going to spend so much time getting everything like pristine to have them come in that I might as well just save that time and pay somebody to watch my pets. That's why I don't have pets though. We travel too much.
So let's move on to credit card news. The Hawaiian credit cards are ending soon. Gary left from View from the Wing. He was talking to the powers that be there, kind of getting some information on how this is all going to work when they do merge Alaska and Hawaiian, their loyalty programs. Right now, there's sort of an opportunity because, as we've talked about before, you can transfer miles back and forth between the programs. And right now, all of the credit cards are still available, the Hawaiian credit cards and the Alaska credit cards. So you can still pick up some Hawaiian credit cards, which will be going away, and kind of spruce up your balance that way.
Yeah, they say as soon as their combined programs become one program, they'll get rid of those credit cards. So, and it sounds like they're trying to do that as quickly as possible. So I don't know what the time frame is, but it sounds like it's not too distant. A lot of times we see this and it takes 6 months, a year for programs to become one. It sounds like they're moving that up. And what we saw with the transfers opening up like a week after the deal closed, it's kind of crazy how quickly they're moving with everything. So I would put the limit on short, weeks, months, maybe a few months, but I think that's going to happen. So if you're interested in this as an extra way to get some more Alaska miles, of course you can get the Bank of America cards, but you can also get these. I'd stick to the business one if you're under 524. If you're over 524, then go for the personal one. I just don't think it's worth burning a spot to get some Alaska miles, especially with you can transfer membership rewards kind of roundabout way to Alaska right now. There's so many ways. Like I know people get FOMO, but I think a lot of people are going to sign up for this and burn a slot when it really isn't a great fit for them.
I agree. If you weren't going to go for this, if you didn't need the miles or just to go for it doesn't make sense, especially with this niche program and product. But they are issued by Barclays, the Hawaiian cards are. So that's a different bank. And depending, that could be good or bad. They can be really tough for people who apply for a lot of credit cards. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot to take in there. Don't burn a slot, but just know it exists. And there's a lot of great partners. And there's some people who want to build up their balances in Alaska, so it might make sense. But this is definitely not one to get FOMO for.
I think if you are eligible for business cards, doesn't hurt you, so might as well throw one in there. I think they've been better with sole props than they have not, which is weird. Usually banks are a little more strict on sole props, but it seems like if you apply as a sole prop, you have a better chance.
Another business offer to look at is the Spark Cash. That's back with a $750 bonus. And what's so good about this is it doesn't have an annual fee the first year or they waive it. It's normally $95. And then basically, this is a 2% cashback card. And they also, I think, 5% on hotels if you use Capital One Travel, something like that. I never look at that as like anything I'm ever going to do. So it doesn't even register with me. But it's a decent welcome offer for a essentially no annual fee to start card. It does have an annual fee.
Yeah, and the cool thing with Capital One is if you have a miles earning card like the Venture or Venture X or Venture X Business, you can turn your cash into points. So it doesn't have to be, similar to what we see with Ultimate Rewards and the no fee cards versus the fee cards. If you have a points earning card, you can combine those balances. And then this one didn't, Capital One's weird. Some of the business cards count against 524, others don't. This one didn't before. But since it's new and it's relaunched, we don't know how it's going to be treated, if it will go to your personal report or not, but something to be aware of.
Capital One is so weird. They run all your bureaus. There's a lot there, but so
Yeah.
much value if you can figure out the right cards. And you're not going to be able to go crazy with them, but you should be having them in your strategy of credit cards for sure. They have a lot of good products there. Onto American Express, and Pay Over Time offers are back. 20,000 points they're offering for Pay Over Time. And what that is on like a gold or a platinum card. Those are technically charge cards, meaning you have to pay them off at the end of the month. But they have a feature called Pay Over Time where you can essentially turn it into a credit card where you can, keep a balance on the card. Interest is high. You should never do this, but you can activate that feature with these targeted offers and get points just for activating it. You should do that. We have a link, Miles to Memories. I'll put a link down there where you can check to see if you're targeted. You can also check your online accounts, your emails. But I've done this on every single account that I've ever been targeted on. Easiest points ever.
Yeah, it's crazy that they give 20,000 points for this, for basically clicking yes. And then you can go and turn it back off again after you get the points if you want to. But you don't even have to use it, which is the big thing. If they offer you to delay this purchase or stretch the payment out, you just say no or pay it off in full anyway. So you don't have to worry about any of that. It's just like they're hoping you use it down the road, so they give you points to entice you. Totally targeted. Some people get targeted multiple times, each go around. Other people's, I haven't seen one in 3-4 years now, which is sad. But when they do come, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's neat. And I think the fact that they're giving so many points for just clicking yes means a lot of people are paying interest, Mark. I think that's really
Yeah.
what it is. It's not good, but don't do that, but collect your points. And as Mark said, you can turn it back off and then maybe get targeted again. I think those of us who have done it a lot are probably not getting targeted so much now. So
Yep.
they're catching on to our games. But another targeted offer to talk about is United, their mile play offers. They've done these for years where they send you a targeted offer, book a trip, get bonus miles. In my case, I had book one trip of $100 or more, get 3,000 bonus miles. And then my wife booked two trips of 100 or more, get 4,500 bonus miles. The one trip is not terrible if I had something. I mean, that's a lot of bonus miles for a $100 trip.
Yeah, if you can make it work or if you fly United a lot, then it's an easy one. Ours were like $100 flight 3 times, get 4,000, 6,000 miles. I think it was, and my wife's was $300 or more in premium class for 6,000. So some of these are like worthless. I think the highest one I've seen is 42,000, which if you get that, then maybe you start to game plan a bit. But for these other ones, let's say you're looking at Southwest is $95 and United is $105, and you're getting that 3,000 miles, then it's probably worth booking United if you can use United miles, because that adds value. So it's just something to consider when you're, searching out future flights. Like, be like, all right, I have this like bonus worth $45 kind of in miles in my back pocket. Does that change who I'm going to book with and stuff? So something to consider.
For someone like me with a lot of travel bank credit that I have from platinum cards, and that's how I sort of cash out my platinum credits, it makes sense to kind of look at United more. So yeah, I will. And I've flown them more just because of the travel bank. Every time it wasn't a good redemption for me, I would just pay cash on United from my travel bank. And it's been great. Hawaii, I did that, and I've done a couple other flights. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of us who will have to fly United because we have the stupid credit. So might as well get some extra miles.
And hope you don't get beat up and dragged off the plane.
You only get that here on 20-minute travel. So let's move on to transfer bonuses. You have this as the most transfer bonuses you've ever seen at once. And you have a list on Travel on Points, so people can definitely look at this. But there is a ton of them ending the end of October, and then even more that go into November, starting with like Chase. You have that 30% to all the different Avios, Aer Lingus, British Airways, Iberia. City Thank You, 25% to Qatar. City Thank You, 20 to 40% to Etihad. 25% to Leaders Club. And then those all end at the end of October. Then you also have Air France KLM from Amex Membership Rewards, Marriott Bonvoy from Chase, a 50% bonus. I'm going to stop reading these off, Mark. People can see them on the screen.
Yeah, you're just getting to the good one. No, Wyndham. Yeah, Wyndham dropped today for City, which is one, and then Virgin as well has a bonus, and then of course Chase has the 40% to Virgin, which a few months ago, or I should say a few years ago, that would have been like insane. 40% to Virgin, you'd be like, yeah, let's grab that. Now it's harder to use them for Delta and partners. Maybe a little bit harder to find space, and then we don't know what's going to change in their program if you use it to book their own flights. Like, what does it look like in November when they do the switch? Is it going to be more valuable? Is it going to be less valuable? The fact that they have all these bonus transfers right now, I don't think it's going to go in our favor. And we were already thinking that anyway. But yeah, some interesting ones. Even like Bonvoy, when you're getting 50%, if it's a hotel room that you're getting 1 cent per point, which does happen, on high times, if an event or something's going on. Now you're getting 1.5 cent per point. And normally we would never transfer to Bonvoy, but if you're getting over 1.5 cents per point, that's kind of what you're shooting for with your transferable points. So, that opens up that as well. And I know the Air France KLM one is always a really popular option. So people were really happy when that one came back out.
Yeah, the Bonvoy is interesting, as you say. I mean, for example, the Vegas, we talk on the Vegas show, Marriott and MGM really loving each other right now. But I know like Cosmo, for example, is 20,000 on some cheap nights. And if you factor in the 50% transfer bonus, it's, and you look at what you would have paid with Hyatt points. I mean, there are some good value, not good value, a great value. I don't know. There are some redemptions that make sense with this transfer bonus for Marriott. I'm not transferring points over, but certainly there. And Virgin, yeah, I would stay away from that. I want to go on a cruise next year and I want points for that, but there's no way in hell that I'm going to transfer over points speculatively to that program. And I'll just wait and hold my breath. And yeah, it's ugly over there.
Yeah, I used to, do that all the time. If there was a 30% bonus or whatever, 25% to Virgin, I would just transfer, a 50K chunk, knowing that I'd likely use it for domestic flights on Delta, or even flying Delta, to Amsterdam, let's say. You could get a really good deal on it. And now you could search like a whole year and not find anything on that route in business. So it's kind of crazy, and that's what we say. Why keep your points transferable? Only take advantage of these bonuses if you have a specific use in mind, or like, let's say it's a Life Miles program and you use it every month or something, then okay, maybe you do that. But it's getting tougher and tougher to do it without a plan in place.
And now the time that everybody's been waiting for, some cool S. This is really cool. BattleKarts, you found this, and it's basically go-karts or like like bumper cars or something with projections onto the arena, and then it's a game that you're playing. I don't know. You can describe it. It's crazy. People are seeing the video. People listening, hard to describe what this is, but it's the gamification of bumper cars, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of like go-karts and bumper cars together. There's tracks. Some of them have tracks, so it's like you're playing real life Mario Go-Kart. You can shoot like shells, not shells, but like stuff out of it. You can pick up boxes. So it's basically, I don't know how they haven't been sued yet, but it's basically Mario Kart. And then another one, you're knocking around a soccer ball like you're playing Rocket League and stuff. And there's other ones where you try to grow your snake. I don't know, that sounds dirty, but so I figured this was like a one-off type of thing, but they're all over Europe, a couple in the Middle East, a couple in Australia. So there's quite a few locations. I was surprised by this, and one that they haven't been sued yet.
Yeah, it's cool how technology, we get this stuff. We've talked about, those big simulated theaters and the Sphere and all that. But I mean, there's so many different ways that technologies are going to create cool things like this. Yeah, let us know what you guys think of that. I mean, it looks incredible. I want to go do it. So I hope I'm going to look for it when I'm traveling, like different places to see. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. House sitting. Have you done that? Have you lent your house out to somebody? Hawaiian and Alaska, are you going to go get the Hawaiian cards, the transfer bonuses, everything else we talked about, the fake Mario Kart? Would you do that? Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week. We do 20-minute travel, this show on Wednesdays. We also have the MTM Travel Podcast. that came out on Monday. This week's show, we talk Salem, Massachusetts. We go deeper into the Alaska changes, exactly what they're changing in their new program, plus a ton of other stuff. So check that out on this channel. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.